Good morning, good afternoon, everybody, wherever you are tuning in around the world. My name is Roger Gould, and I'm with Hostfully, and we're expecting a big audience today. We're going to give everybody another minute or two to join here. There's always some late stragglers when we do these live stream events. We hope you like the music. About minute by minute would be very appropriate for our featured speakers today for a minute. And we'll be getting started here in just a minute or so. All right. So good morning, everybody, or good afternoon. The last time we did a Hostfully webinar, we had people from all over the world tuning in. For some, it was morning, for some, it was afternoon, and for some, it was evening. So we know we have a fantastic group today. And welcome, everybody. I've got my two partners here, Mitch and Vedant from Hostfully. How you guys doing? And I've also got our featured guests from Minut, our partners, Alondra and Caroline. So greetings to you guys as well. It's always fun doing webinars via Livestorm because it's never easy to communicate with the audience. Sometimes we get 20 people, sometimes we get 100. And because we can't see you or we can't hear you, it's sometimes a little bit challenging. So I wanted to encourage you. We have some tools today that we're going to use. We've got polls that you'll see throughout the presentation. Please feel to participate in those. We want to make this presentation as interactive as possible today, since you can't, you can see us and hear us, but and you can see one of the polls just popped up there. So feel free to go ahead and participate in that. So we've got polls we're going to use. We've got emojis that I'm going to activate right now. You should be seeing those popping up at the bottom. In fact, that's where the questions are located. If you have any questions, feel free to put them in the questions box there, and we will answer them as we go along. The polls are also located in the lower right hand, and then feel free to use the emojis to respond to any of the content that we have. It lets us know that you're engaged and that you're following along. And so we've got some fun tools today to make it fun for you. So thanks again, everybody, for participating. And we've got a great team here to present some content to you. And on just a quick check of the time, it looks like we're a few minutes after. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to kick off today's presentation. Again, my name is Roger Gould. I'm Director of Business Development at Hostfully. If you're a Hostfully customer, thank you for joining. If you're not, thank you for joining as well. I'm going to give you a very brief overview of Hostfully, and then we are going to turn this over to our guest speakers from Minut today. So let's get started. Here's our crew. Here's some better pictures of us. You see us live and also in person here. Alondra is Partnerships Manager at Minut. Caroline is Head of Partnerships. Vedant is my Senior Business Development Rep, and you have me as well. So let's go ahead and get started. Real quick about Hostfully. We've been around for 6 years now. We feature two products, the Property Management Platform, or the PMS as it's commonly referred to, and our digital guidebooks. Two independent products, but they also integrate together. From the distribution side, we work with 16 different OTAs. Airbnb, Vrbo, Booking.com, and TripAdvisor are the big ones. You guys are going to get let in on a little secret today. We have a big announcement that we are going live with Google Vacation Rentals. That announcement could come probably as early as next week. We've been working on that for a long time, and we're really excited to bring that to all of our customers. We also have a fantastic booking pipeline that will help you manage all of your leads and all of your bookings. We have a unified inbox where all of your messages will come from all of your OTAs, from your direct booking site, from any communications that you might have. Everything goes into one inbox. We also provide you with a direct booking template. There's 3 different ways that you can have a direct booking site with Hostfully. You can use our template. You can build your own website with some of the self-building templates that are out there. You can have a web development company build it for you, but we make that available to you in the Hostfully platform. We also have a variety of automated messages and triggers in our guest communications portal, including text messaging and WhatsApp messaging. Our customers really excited about that. Payment processing, we work with what we believe to be the 3 best payment processors in the industry in Stripe, PayPal, and Vacation Rent Payment. And then we have a variety of tools for you that will create reports for you, even custom reports, agency analytics, and a whole lot more. So the property management platform, or PMS, is robust as it's ever been for Hostfully. The flip side of that is the digital guidebooks platform. That's going to help you boost your guest experience substantially. You'll have an opportunity to put your branding on the digital guidebooks, create different color schemes. The main goal, obviously, is to cut down on your communications with your guests. Nobody likes to get phone calls or text messages at 11 p.m. at night. And so the idea here is to tell your guests everything that they need to know about your properties in the digital guidebooks. Numerous opportunities to upsell any of the products or services that you have. In fact, in addition to the Hostfully Marketplace, we also have 2 other opportunities that provide revenue generating opportunities for you. The digital guidebooks can also be used to collect guest emails, sign digital agreements, and the net is we all want more 5-star reviews. And so that is what we're all trying to get to. And when I say we're all, I think the last poll that we did, or survey that we did internally, about 70% of our employees are also Airbnb superhosts, and we all manage our own properties. So interesting little tidbit about us. Additionally, Terry White said, one of the best softwares I have ever seen, talking about Hostfully's property management platform. Erica Velasquez, I'm totally blown away by the guidebook platform. It has saved me so much time. It's way more professional and modern than a Word document or a PDF file. And I couldn't agree more. We just added a new feature to our digital guidebook this week that our team has been playing with, and that is an AI component where you can actually, using ChatGPT, which is integrated, you can create your own itinerary or agenda of all the fun things that you're going to do, and it'll self-generate for you. So we're very excited about that. And then finally, in addition to providing innovative tools such as the property management software and the digital guidebooks, Hostfully is also very big in creating blogs and research and reports. This URL, if you want to screenshot this or save this URL, we'll also follow up with an email to all attendees with this URL in the email, but it gives you access to a lot of the research that we've done, industry trends, insights, all kinds of things that we've been able to build for our customers that we feel are extremely helpful. Okay, so with that, the main reason that we all have come together today is to hear from our partner Minut. And with that, I am going to transition to Alondra to get us started. Thank you, Alondra.
Thank you so much, Roger. It's always so nice to hear what you guys are up to, and some of the new changes that you are always making to the 2 different platforms. And we'll touch on one of them in a little bit. But today, I wanted to give a quick overview of what we're going to talk about. So first and foremost, we're going to cover the purpose and benefits of short-term rental associations. Also, we're going to go over some tools and tips, how to screen guests like a pro before they even step through the door. Neighborly love, how to build good relationships with those living next door, and Minut's method, helping keep your guests comfortable and provide peace of mind for you and your neighbors. And then lastly, we'll go over Host Happy. So what do you need to know if you're starting off with a new vacation rental, or if you're just starting out in this business? We always say that it's really helpful to avoid regulations by starting with your neighbors. So if this is the first time that you've actually worked in the sector, introduce yourself, be transparent, be professional, be available. Make sure you give them a business card. Make sure that they know who you are. It's going to make your neighbors feel a lot better if they know, who you are and what your plans are. And then also, don't be afraid to communicate with them about your tools. So what tools you're using in your tech stack, let's say, to ensure that your business is running smoothly and that it's not just a hobby that you've picked up on TikTok, for example, from an influencer at 2 a.m, but that you're really taking it seriously and that they can count on you to be a responsible member of that community and neighbor. Now, this is the tricky part though, right? How do you build those good relationships with those living next to your properties? What I would say is, certainly real estate agents, some of them are really in tune with what's going on the regulatory landscape, but I'd say actually go a step further than that. The real estate agents, their job is to sell you a property. Reach out to your local associations. Find out, are there local associations for short-term rental hosts and property managers? And if so, ask them, what's the general feeling in this area for short-term rentals? Do people like them? Do they not? Are they trying to get them banned? What is the current regulation, landscape look like? They're going to be the best point of contact for you to understand before you even buy a property, or if you've already purchased a property, what you're getting yourself into. And then I put on here, most regulations begin with an unhappy neighbor. Often, it might be that a neighbor just feels fed up. They don't feel like anyone's listening to them. They don't feel as though they're being heard, and they go to a local government, a town hall meeting, and they complain, and it kind of snowballs after that. So we always say, if you're proactive and you start, by trying to have a good relationship with that neighbor and letting them know what you're doing, it's going to really improve your chances of having a better relationship with them. And then, like any business, think about the stakeholders in your area. So, perhaps it's a local school, perhaps it's neighbors, perhaps, think about all of the people that are affected by your business, and that your business is also affected by. Who are the people in that area that you need to keep in mind? And then have a more active presence in the neighborhood. So I've actually heard of a property, of a few property managers that have gone in and purchased and then decided to be on the HOA of that particular, that particular property, because they want to make sure that their voice is heard. They want to make sure that they're seen as someone who's actually contributing to their community, and that they're active and have an active stake in what happens in that community. So I've mentioned vacation rental associations or short-term rental associations. What are they? A lot of people, wonder, are they paid? Are they unpaid? It's usually a group of volunteers, of property managers, of hosts, people with experience in the sector who essentially band together, because as we all know, it's a lot easier to have a louder voice and have more of an impact when you act in a group, not alone. So these associations are often volunteers of people who put together their time, and their main role is to stay on top of up and coming regulations in the area. They really give the industry much needed resources to help guide regulations every step of the way. And then I put on here the VRMA's Right to Rent program. In fact, Hostfully is a great proponent of the Right to Rent program. It's a program where you can actually donate funds to help fight extreme regulations in different parts of the country. Now, if you find that there's no association already in the area where you have that property, I would actually take it back a little bit old school to like a Facebook group. So Facebook groups are actually great resources because that's often where you're going to see people in the vacation rental industry that are sharing information like, where to find a cleaner, what kind of regulations are coming up. These groups are organized by regions, and I'd certainly, recommend that you take a look and see if there are any in your area. And if they're not, go ahead and start one yourself. It's going to be a really nice way to connect with other property managers in your area. And a lot of people might say, you know what, I don't know that I want to connect to other property managers. They might be my competition. But we always say, it's really a much better situation if you create a great sense of community, so you can share practices for day-to-day operations. And if you don't have any occupancy For example, if you don't have any room for guests during a festival, you can recommend them to trusted, hosts and property managers that you've met, and vice versa. So it really helps to create a nice community aspect to the short-term rental industry. And then take a proactive approach. Again, think about what can you do to make sure that people have in-person meetings. I know we spoke to a client of ours who actually started a short-term rental group. They made t-shirts so that they're more visible in the community with like their group name, and they pick a different local business every month, introduce themselves, and make sure that they are a bit more visible so that the community understands the value that they bring to that area. Now we're going to transition a little bit and now talk a little bit about the steps that you can take to protect your property. This is quite interesting to think about. When you're putting together your description of your property, this is a great time to think, what's the ideal number of guests? What kind of activities would my ideal guests like to do? So as an example, there's a property manager that I spoke to who wanted someone who loves the outdoors, who loves to read. They even wanted, it almost sounded like she was putting together like her ideal person. It was like a guitar player who loves to read, take long walks on the beach, and loves the outdoors. So she put together a reading nook. So her guests, when they were flipping through her pictures online, they would see that she has a reading nook. She has a guitar. She's got, canoes in the area. So in the property, so they can actually borrow those canoes. That's going to attract a very specific type of guest. And you can certainly take that into consideration so you can attract that type of guest to your property as well. And then I also mentioned, do you want to rent out your property long term? Certainly there are excellent OTAs these days, or channels as we call them, the big ones like Vrbo, Airbnb, and others. But if you are looking for more like long-term or mid-term stays, you might want to consider more niche channels like Go Lightly, that's more catered towards women travelers, Home Ads, which is a channel for digital nomads, and Furnish Finders, which is a channel more specifically focused on professional medical professionals that travel and need places to stay for a month or so at a time. And then fine tune your guest acceptance process. So think about, again, any specific ages that you prefer. Do you prefer people that are a little bit older? Are you okay with younger people? Where do you want most of your guests to come from? Because that's also going to help you identify what kind of events they're going to be heading and traveling there for. So if you want, to avoid like the big, Metallica concert that's going to be in town because you think that's going to draw the wrong kind of crowd to your property, then maybe you block out those dates, or maybe you focus, on other types of events like, Taylor Swift, but who knows, that could actually be just as problematic as the Metallica fans. We don't know. But certainly those are all things to consider when you're planning, what kind of people do I want to attract to my property, and then know what to avoid. So the large OTAs like Airbnb and Vrbo, they've gotten very good at this. They will kind of raise up a red flag if it's a one night stay on a weekend, for example. That's usually an indication that perhaps someone's looking for a party house. So maybe, add minimum night stays to your property so that people aren't tempted to book it just for a party. And then guidebooks are your friends. As Roger mentioned, Hostfully does a great job with guidebooks. It's hard to know as a guest, what rules you're breaking if you don't know what the rules are. So absolutely take the time to create a nice guidebook, to communicate what the key rules are, and then use it as an opportunity to connect with your neighbors. So make sure that they know you've got this great tool and you're going to use it so that everyone's on the same page. So you can go to them and say, hey, I'm putting together a guidebook with, the quiet hours. Can we agree that these are the quiet hours? Parking, where should my guests park? If we've got one spot for parking, what do they do if they have two cars? Where can they park? And make sure that you come to an agreement on that and that you put that in your guidebook so your guests don't end up, accidentally annoying your neighbors. And certainly trash. So we always say, noise, parking, trash, those are the main things that really trigger neighbors to being quite annoyed. So if you can avoid those from the get-go and make sure you include that in the guidebook, then it's definitely will save you some headaches down the road. And then lastly, I wanted to mention, tailor your guidebook, include the beneficial information, but use it again as a chance to connect with your local community. So you go to your local businesses, you take your guidebook, show it to them on your phone and say, hey, I'm putting together a local guidebook. I have a vacation rental here. I would love to include your business here. Can you just let me know if this is the correct information to include on my guidebook? These recommendations are a great way for you to connect with your local community, and again, give more visibility to the fact that you're bringing in additional value to the community. Great, so now I'm going to transition it on to our head of partnerships, Caroline, who's going to give you a little bit more details about Minut.
Thank you, Alondra. So as Alondra was saying, there's many ways to protect your property by, first of all, selecting your guest and making sure that you're not allowing everyone to stay in your property. But another way you can do that is by having a Minut. So the goal of Minut is really to give you the peace of mind when you have your guest staying in the property, that the property is being protected. And the way we do that is we've put together in a one single device many different features, and we send you real-time notification. So whenever something happens in the property, you're instantly informed of what is going on. So you can see here a few screenshots of the app that we have that you can download on your phone. We also have, of course, a dashboard. And so the first one is showing you when guests are having a party, we will send you an instant notification to let you know that it's being a bit too noisy. We also allow you to understand when your guests are coming in, checking in the property or checking out of the property. You can also follow your staff this way. So if you want to understand if your cleaning staff came to the property today, or if they're still in the property so your guests can or not, this is also a good way to know. So to go a bit more into details into Minut and the feature that we have. So first of all, I want to highlight the fact that Minut is a privacy safe device. So we do not record, we do not have any camera. And the goal for us is really to give you the peace of mind and a good understanding of what is happening in your property while respecting the privacy of your guests. So this is why you can put your Minut in any room and it will not be an issue for your guests. But as Alondra was saying, one of the big vision of Minut is to be transparent. So we encourage you to put that on your listing to let your guests know. This is not only a good way to be transparent with your guests, but it's also a good way to prevent people who want to party to book your property and to maybe choose another one. So one of the most known feature of Minut is noise monitoring. And so the goal here is to help you understand when the property is being too noisy. And so if the property is a bit too noisy, we will send you an instant notification so you can act on it. We do also have occupancy monitoring. I will go back into a bit more detail about those two features after that. We do have also motion detection. So motion detection is a great feature, as I was saying, to understand if your guests checking or check out, but also to protect your property, because Minut also has an alarm system. So when your property is empty, you can also put the alarm on and make sure that no one is breaking in, because we know that sometimes you might not go to your property for maybe a week or two between bookings. So that's why we're also protecting you there. Minut is also a good way to understand the temperature level of the property. This is great in areas, especially where you have the AC on. So to make sure that the AC is not still on, even though your guests left. And of course, everything is customable. So you can decide of the threshold and you can decide when you want to be notified. So the goal here is really to be tailored to your property. So we have a setup threshold, but then you can just put your own. Another great news for some of you who may have seen the release a few months ago, we've released the outdoor mode. So that means that now you can put your Minut inside, but also outside. It has exactly the same feature. It's the same device, and it has been very much requested for people who have outside spaces. So for instance, if your guests gather around the jacuzzi or around the pool, here it's even more problematic because you have no walls to protect from the noise. So in those cases, it can be quite problematic with your neighbor. And so again, we're able to notify you and to let you know if something is happening of that sort so you can act on it. And finally, the great news is that we're soon releasing, actually next week, releasing the cigarette detection. So we know that it can be extremely problematic for guests to walk into a property and it smells like cigarette. This is not nice. This is extremely inconvenient. Sometimes your guests will decide to leave the property because it smells too strong, and it costs hundreds and sometimes thousands of dollars to be able to clean the couch or change the curtains sometimes. So thanks to our new feature, you will be able to know when guests are smoking. And again, you will be able to act on it and let them know that this is a non-smoking property, and whatever other action you may want to take here. So to go back to the noise monitoring, here is an example of how noise is being triggered. So as you can see, the decibel level, the threshold here has been put around 75, 72. So again, this is an example of how you can decide what is best for your property. If you're in the countryside, or if you're in an apartment building, you may want to change the threshold. And what's really important to remember is that we don't notify you for just a small noise. So here you can see a spike. It could be a door being slammed. It could be someone screaming for a second. We're not going to notify you. We notify you when the noise has been loud for a certain period of time. So usually it's around 10 minutes. In that case, we will then send you a notification. You also have the option to send an SMS to your guests. We will do that again 10 minutes after, and again 10 minutes after. So yeah, you can send an SMS, but you can also send an auto call. And we've done many pilots to get some data around that and to understand how helpful it is for hosts, for PM to have this kind of feature. And so we've seen that in 94% of the cases, the noise issue is being solved within 15 minutes. Can be for different reason. It can be because the guests didn't realize they were being too noisy. It can be also that they're just moving the party outdoor. Whatever reason it is, the noise is being solved, and this prevents you from having issue with your neighbor, but also from having damages, because we all know that when there is you can have a lot of damages. And on average, the cost linked to a party and is about 1,200. So it can get really expensive, and unfortunately, not every damage are covered by your insurance. And now to go back into the occupancy monitoring. So a crowd detect feature will monitor the number of mobile devices in the property, and it will alert you when the number rises. So again, you can decide if it's a four people apartment. You can put your threshold, and then if it goes above, we will let you know. It's a great feature because sometimes parties are not noisy to begin with. So people can start gathering, and then the music start a bit after. So here you can even hack before the party starts. So again, you will receive the notification and you'll be able to act on it. I think we're going back to Alondra now, who is going to introduce you an amazing project we've been working on.
Thank you, Caroline. Yes, so we're gonna just quickly touch on Host Happy, which I'm so excited to officially announce that Hostfully is actually part of as well. They're one of our partners for this project. Host Happy, you guys are getting a sneak peek. You guys are getting all kinds of secret information today between like Google Travel, cigarette information, and a sneak peek into Host Happy. It's a good webinar to be a part of. This is a sneak peek into Host Happy. It's going to be an educational platform that we're going to be launching within the next couple of weeks, and it's going to provide quite a bit of information for property managers, hosts, partners in the industry. And why Host Happy, you might ask? Well, guest preferences are changing. There's a lot of legislative pressure in the short-term rental industry. We wanted to provide a great platform for people to share experiences and best practices. So this will be kind of a one-stop shop where you can go and get information on things like advocacy, environmental sustainability, and in general, just what's going on with different hosts and property managers across the US, Europe, and possibly a couple of other markets. And we're going to feature the content that's going to be, I should say, the content that we're going to be featuring is going to be focused on 4 different pillars. So environmental sustainability, legislative and regulatory initiatives, positive community relationships, and industry insights. So perhaps, something that a property manager has experience in the UK with regards to regulations might be actually relevant or similar to something that property manager in California is facing, and it might be helpful for them to read about different regulations in different areas. So again, the idea is that we put together a great platform for people to come read and learn all about these different topics. And the best of all, it's going to be free. So we'll be launching that soon. We'll be announcing it and giving all of the information on how you can sign up. So look out for that information via social media as well shortly. Great. So I think we're going to hop into questions now. I've been answering a couple here. So Leonardo Martinez, I know you've had some questions for us. And just to let you know, I'm going to go ahead and reach out to our team to find out about the threshold levels and specifically about the partnership options in the US as well. Sorry, Roger, I don't know if you wanted to go over the questions. I took them right
No,
from you.
go ahead. You're good.
Go ahead. You do the next ones.
No, go continue. You're doing great.
All right. Let's see here. I think, Caroline, did you get that one about Airbnb?
Yeah, I was actually answering it now, but I can do it live. So the question was, will Minut be enough proof for Airbnb to evict and cancel guest reservation immediately? So as you may know, we've been, there is a global party ban with Airbnb that has been happening through the years for maybe 3 years now. So it's actually not allowed to have a party if you are going through Airbnb. This is part of their policy now. And so this is how Minut has been helping Airbnb. So we've been partnering with them for a few years now to help prevent parties in the listings. We've never heard of a case such as this one, but knowing that Airbnb has a party ban and Minut prevent parties, this is definitely a great way to go by contacting the Airbnb team and showing the different graph. I think you can definitely make a case with that. And the goal of Minut is really to show the number of decibel with the occupancy. We have a lot of features now that gathered together are a great proof that a party is happening. So I would definitely say yes.
What types of investors or property management companies do you find that Minut is most applicable? What's your sweet spot in terms of customers and the types of things that they're looking for, or is it just perfect fit for everybody?
Minut is a perfect fit for everybody. We have people who rent their own property when they go on weekend or on vacation. We have people who have 1 or 2 listing, and then we have companies that have PM that have thousands of listing. So the great thing about Minut is that it's really tailored for everyone's need because everything is customable. For larger property manager, we also, what is great for them is we have integration with a lot of different companies, so that allows the automation, which can be really useful when you're managing such a high portfolio. We also have a great team that helps you on board and put Minut together with your portfolio when you have a large portfolio. So you can get in touch with our team and they would help you to set everything up, help you to understand also how to work with, we have something called organization, where you can decide of who is controlling which property, who is in charge of which property, who is allowed to change the threshold. So same when you're a team of 10, 20 people working on this, not everyone has access to it. They can just see the data, but maybe not change the threshold. So yeah, it's really built for everyone.
Excellent. Any more questions that we have that have been posted, or if you've been wanting to ask a question, now would be a really good time to put it in the box, and we do have some time left here. So whatever your questions are, feel free to go ahead and put it in the box, and good time for us to get it on the table for everybody.
Yep. I think we have one more question from DN. He says, since the device detects smoke, let's say if the device is in the living room and someone smokes in the bedroom, would it still detect it? Or
So this is a great question. I'm not exactly sure of how to answer that question. The smoke, so the smoke, we will release more information next week when we have when we're releasing the feature. But the idea is that the device is made for an apartment of 70 square meters. So meaning that also when our engineers have been building that feature, they were also taking that into consideration. So depending on how big your property is, for an apartment, definitely yes.
Excellent. Any other questions that anybody might have? Feel free to put them in the box and we will answer them now. In case you're wondering, today's presentation is being recorded and we will follow up with all attendees, whether you're with us live or listening on replay. If you registered, you'll be getting an email from us with a link to the recording. And if you're interested in more information, either on Hostfully or Minut, we'll make sure that we get in touch with you. It looks like there are a couple more questions that have popped in here.
Yeah. So for the device, is the device plugged into a wall? So the device can be so you can either have the device run on battery. We have a battery that lasts for about a year, and then you just have to plug it, recharge, and put it back on. Or you can decide to plug it. This is really up to you. And depending on the country you're living in, for instance, in Europe, people tend to prefer the battery. In the US, they tend to like a plug. So this is really up to you, but you have both options. And to answer the following question, can you print out info to prove sound? So you have access to your dashboard where your app also, where you can easily get all the information. So if you're on our pro plan, you're going to have historical data, meaning you're going to have all the data from your property since you started with Minut. So you'll be able to print anything you need, even if the party happened like 2 months ago, you'll still have access to your data, so you'll be able to print it out and use it as a proof.
Excellent, excellent. Any other questions in the box there? We haven't seen many emojis today. Feel free to, I love emojis. We use them internally all the time. So feel free to use your emojis if you're enjoying this presentation. There we go. Okay. Well, if there are no other questions, we are going to close down today's presentation. I want to thank my Hostfully team for helping us put this together, Vedant and Mitch, and especially I want to thank our partners at Minut, Caroline and Landra, for today's presentation. Partnerships are extremely important to us at Hostfully, and we try to bring the short-term rental market the best-in-class providers and partners and information as often as we can. So thank you guys for your time and your presentation today. And thank all of you for attending, whether you're attending live or listening on a recording. I hope you found this useful. Let any of us know how we can help you in the future. Best of luck with the remainder of the year with your businesses. And we'll go ahead and close down today. Thanks again, everybody. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.